Hello lovely sewists, welcome back to my channel. My name's Laura and this is my channel So Very Laura. So today I am back with you with my reveal-ish for the Busy Bee Challenge number 2, and this will also be my entry for Sew Upcycle 2025 run by the lovely Becky, who is Notes from the Sewing Room, and Karen, who is So Little Time. So I'll link all their details in the description. So our Busy Bee Challenge, the Busy Bee Challenge this year has been dreamt up by Sam Sequin Girly, and the Busy Bee Challenge is to upcycle something that is going to give you autumn vibes, and I'll link my introductory vlog down below. But essentially I came up with 3 roughly different alternatives. So one was to create a princess seam shirt from some sheets that I had, some bedding, and then the other 2 involved using this fabric, so I'll try not to give anything too much away for the minute, which is, or rather was, curtains. And I was thinking of making either a shacket by Prima Patterns or the Helen's Closet Pona jacket, or perhaps some dungarees. And I had the Life So Savoury, which I've made before, which is a free pattern, the Riley dungarees by True Bias, and another one which I can't remember, but it's in the original vlog. And I got some lovely comments from my viewers, and 2 or 3 of them said they'd made the Riley and really liked them. So I think it was always going to be that, to be honest. So that is what I have been working on. Now you will see that although I'm wearing Me Made, this is a Me Made hoodie from Peekaboo Patterns, I'm not wearing the dungarees. And this is because they're not actually finished. So in a nutshell, I cut them out last weekend and I've been working on them fairly consistently all week. You are watching this on the 29th of October, but I'm actually recording this on Saturday the 25th. So the week prior to this, we're having our kitchen done at the moment, and so the week prior to this it was our time to go in and do all the painting. And frankly, I was so shattered at the end of every day that I really didn't feel like standing at my cutting table and cutting a pattern out. So that had to wait until the decorating was done. But I got the pattern cut out, and I haven't tried these on yet, so I'll talk to you about sizing when I show you them, which I will do in my next vlog when I show you them on me. I really like the pattern, and I think the instructions are fabulous. I'll just show you 1 or 2 of the pages. So I printed them out because I just find it easier that way. But you will see that there are really, really detailed instructions, really clear, and also lots of illustrations. And with one exception so far, I haven't needed to watch the sew along. There is a sew along on YouTube in various installments, and the only reason I needed to consult the sew along was because I was looking at some of the stitching instructions and I was thinking, doesn't say it in the pattern, but I think that needs to be in top stitching thread. So I watched the sew along, and sure enough, she said, if you are top stitching, you need to do this in top stitching thread. But in terms of the sewing that needed to be done, the instructions were perfectly clear. So I haven't had to rip anything out from the perspective of having done it wrongly at all. And I have to say that the measurements are super precise. So if I show you the back, which is more or less complete, there you go. You see, there are the straps. So that's all top stitched in this little triangle, and the instructions are really clear. And then the back legs have darts in them, and there are notches in the bottom of the back, and she said they're meant to line up with the darts in the back. So there's a dart there, and they line up absolutely perfectly to the millimetre. So I really can't fault the pattern. I think it's fabulous. There is a lot of top stitching, so if you hate top stitching, I suggest you don't necessarily do it as top stitching. In many cases, you do need to do it because it actually also secures the seams down. So it acts like understitching, if you like. But you can perfectly well do it in your normal thread and just do it that way. I elected to do top stitching in, you can see on here, that's one of the straps. I elected to do it in blue because I thought it would show up quite nicely, as indeed it does. So you can see there, that's the top stitching, joining the back legs to the back straps. So I elected to do it in blue, and you have one row of top stitching, usually at 1/16 of an inch, and then the other one is 1/4 of an inch away. And I hit on the idea, mercifully fairly early on. I'm just fiddling around because my sewing machine foot was hiding under my overlocker, of using my 1/4 inch foot, which came with my Janome machine. So hopefully you can see that, and it has that edge there, so that can go along the edge of your fabric if you're quilting, which is really what this is intended for. And I have a quilting stitch, a 1/4 inch stitch on my machine, so I could set it at that. But what I did was, instead of running my edging down the edge of my fabric or my seam, I ran it down the initial line of top stitching, and everything was going brilliantly. I have to say, I may not have finished anyway. I did mention a minute ago that I'm recording this on Saturday. It's just after 5 o'clock. We are going out to the theatre at 6:30, so I have to have this recorded and edited and uploaded really before I go. And I am going up north to Yorkshire, which is where I grew up, to stay with a friend and see some of the friends I was at school with. And I'm coming back on Thursday when I'm staying for pleasure. So I'm not going to get any more time to do this. So that's why I'm recording now, even though I haven't finished the garment, because I wanted to release something on the release day. And I realised, for reasons that will be apparent in a minute, I wasn't going to be able to get it to a position. I was hoping I'd at least have it basted together. But rather than leave you with nothing, I thought I can talk about the pattern, I can talk about how I've got on so far and what I've found works and what I've found hasn't. And then next time I will record a vlog, hopefully next Friday probably. It'll probably come out at the weekend, where I can talk to you about the finished article, because hopefully I will get to finish it on Friday, fingers crossed. And also talk to you about the next Busy Bee challenge. Everything was going swimmingly, so I started off working on the bodice. Now, the one thing I didn't do on the bodice is there's meant to be a small pocket. I think it's on that side there. And I decided, because of my patterned fabric, that I didn't want to do that. I was quite happy to go with just the one large pocket. And you're also meant to have 2 rows of top stitching going down, so it would link in with the top stitching on the main bib. And I just thought, I really don't want to do that. So I did make a huge effort to pattern match, and actually it's come out pretty well. So you can see the palm tree, it's completely bisected by the pocket, and it's actually come out okay. But I'm really happy with the way I've managed to get the elephant on the front, on the bib. So if you're interested in how I did it, I pattern matched the two front sides of the bib, a bit like it was a shirt. So I folded in the centre edge by the seam allowance once I'd cut out one side, matched it to the pattern on the fabric, then pulled out the other seam allowance, so before I cut out the top. So that matched these two sides. And then what I did when I cut out the pocket was I traced around the pocket piece. So that is the size of the pocket piece. And then I laid my tracing paper over the bib where the bib area before it was sewn up, in order to get the pattern that I wanted. And I just traced the relevant bits so that I could then match them to the bit of fabric I was cutting the large pocket out of. So you can see there the leaves of the palm tree, that's the elephant's tail, and that's its head. So that's how I did it. And I think it's come out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. So you can see it's not been attached yet. Obviously that attaches onto the front, and also it looks, having read a bit further on in the instructions, as if there's a kind of burrito method involved. So you've got a waistband as well, so that conceals the join between the bib and the top of the pants. So that I did and pattern matched. If I show you the front pockets, you see on the right side I did the coin pocket as per the instructions, and that all worked fine. And then it's got pockets on the back, and I did those but didn't bother pattern matching because you've got darts in the back of the legs. I thought it would just mess up anyway. So I've got the guy with the lyre on one pocket, and then on the other pocket I've got a star. I've just got the star, and I've got the elephant's head just peeping out there. And then I've got a label on the pocket with the little guy on it, which says "You do you." So I did think about putting one on the front, but in the end decided that because the elephant's there in all its splendour, it was better just to have it on the back, so it just says "You do you." So that was all fine, and at this point my top stitching was all working perfectly, until I noticed that on the corner bits on the pocket I was getting the odd skip stitch, and I didn't really think too much about it, and I just thought, oh, it's probably because it's going round a corner and it doesn't like it. It was the one that I was doing with the 1/4 inch foot. So I cheated and just essentially put some of the bobbin thread through it so that it just looked like separate stitches, and didn't worry about it too much. It also wasn't mad keen on back stitching. And then I progressed and started doing the rear pockets and the front pockets. But I've noticed, and then the it's got a faux fly, so there's my faux fly, which I'm quite pleased with. Now here, because I'd started having problems with the top stitching on a curve, all I did here was the outer line comes from a template, so you just line it up and draw around it. And then what I did was measured a 1/4 inch in, and then just drew around the same template again. So I sewed those separately, just following the lines of my marker. So that's all gone in nicely, and then I've got top stitching round, and it goes right round and all the way round to the back, and it looks fine now. But believe you me, the machine started eating the thread, getting tangled up. I changed my needle. I had been doing all right with just a jeans needle. I put a top stitching needle in, didn't make any difference. I've upped the needle tension, lowered the needle tension, and I'm slightly worried that the bobbin thread might be out a bit. So my machine's just been serviced. I'm a bit surprised because I thought it was okay. And now I'm really not so sure. So I think I'm going to complete this on my other sewing machine, because I'm lucky enough to have a second sewing machine. But I realised as soon as I made that decision that I am not going to finish it today, and I don't want to mess it up, because to actually really like them. So I decided I would show you how far I'd got, with apologies for not having finished. If I'd been here this coming week, I'm sure I would have finished on time, but what with doing the decorating, we still don't have a kitchen, so we've got Gusto boxes, which I can really recommend if you don't have a lot of space and you don't really want to cook too much. We're washing up in the bathroom. I thought I would try and do a bit of a kind of sew-along vlog, but then realised I couldn't, because you can hear the guys fitting the units downstairs. So one way and another, it just hasn't really been a week that's been conducive to kind of getting something completely done and finished and vlogged. So that's really where I'm at. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope, like me, you can see the potential in these dungarees. So they should hopefully be up for Sew Upcycle on Instagram on Friday, the 31st. And I promise, I will come back and talk to you more about them when they are finished. Fingers crossed, that'll be Friday next week, because on the Saturday I am going north again, but this time I'm going to Lincoln, because I am going it for the Scoven Social, where I am meeting the lovely Mandy Make It Sew, and hopefully also Michelle, the menopausal sewer. And so I'm staying up in the Lincoln area for a couple of nights, hopefully going to catch up with some of my mum's neighbours. So yeah, and then I'm coming home again on Monday. So I'm avoiding quite a lot of the kitchen mayhem. So that's all good too. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have had problems with bobbin tension, and if so, what you did about it. I've tried increasing the needle tension, decreasing the needle tension, changing the needle, but I am worried because it's doing it now, not just on the top stitching, but just on the normal stitching. It's starting to gather. I've put a new needle in, it's not helping. So yeah, I really don't know what's going on. But anyway, that's for another day. So I'm off to edit this and upload it and grab an early dinner, and then we are off out to Cardiff to see a comedian. And then I'm really glad of the extra hour in bed, because I've got to travel to Yorkshire tomorrow, but it'll be lovely. Looking forward to seeing all my friends there. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please give me a like and subscribe if you are interested in hearing more from me. Bye for now.